Hello, welcome my dear class 10 students. Today I'm back to you with a writing section. We know that in English language, in the subject of English, we have 20 marks for writing and we have done some portions of our writing in our previous classes. And today we will be dealing with a writing that carries 7 marks. We know the different mark allotments for each writing, right? And so in our writing, we have some 4 marks questions, we have 5 marks questions, and also we have the 7 marks questions. We have already touched the report writing and letter writing. We have done a detailed explanation on letter writing, and we have also touched a little bit on report writing. Today, we will be dealing with speech writing. We have speech, article, letter, and report. Every year we get 2 questions which are optional, but we have to be prepared with the questions because we do not know which questions will come for the exam, as well as we have to learn how to write these things because these are the things that we need in our daily lives, right? In our everyday lives, this can be applicable. We know that as we prepare to speak in front of people, we have to follow the format of a speech writing. And so this is the reason why I've picked this topic. And you know that all these topics carry 7 marks. You can imagine that. And this is the highest question, highest mark carrying question that you will find in question number 14 almost every year, right? We will deal with speech writing, we will deal with article, and if possible, I will do a little bit on report writing too, because we did not go into the detailed explanation of that. If you want to refer to your book, you can also turn to page number 54, okay? I repeat, page number 54. You will find some format that is given as example for speech writing and an article writing. First of all, we will deal with speech writing, okay? You know what is a speech, right? I'm sure you have given speech or speeches in the morning assemblies or in any function of the school, or it may even be in some other functions. And you know that it is very important to give an effective speech which is inspiring to others. So that is the reason why we have this topic in our class 10 syllabus, and that is for a purpose. A speech is a one-sided discussion. We know that when we are giving a speech, I'm sure no one stood up to interrupt you, right? Nobody stood up to say something in between your speeches. If it is not a seminar or a workshop, we hardly see people doing that, okay? And so in a speech writing, it will be one-sided discussion, and what we have to keep in mind is you have to write down. We know you are writing down, but you have to write as if you are speaking. In a speech writing, we know that in exams we cannot just give a speech in an examination hall. So what we have to do is you have to write down your speech as if you are speaking to someone or to a group of people. And always remember your audience, okay? What type of people would be listening to your speech? If you are speaking in a group of matured people, you cannot just use words which we normally use in the school or with the younger ones. What we have to do is we have to make a very good selection of our words, of our language that we would be using. And if you are standing in front of some teenage people like you, okay, you have to know, and you know best, what are the topics that interest you. So these are some things that we have to keep in mind before we go into the speech writing, okay? And once again, reminding you that this is 7 marks and you have to give a minimum of 250 words, okay? 250 words for speech and article writing too. You will always get the number of words that you have to write in your questions, but even if you don't get it, or even if your teachers forget to mention the words that you need to write, we have to know that this is for 7 marks, so we cannot write below 250 words, okay? One thing that we have, of course, your teacher will always give you a topic to write on, but in case you are given to choose a topic on your own, make sure that you pick a topic which is going to be effective, okay? Which will be beneficial for the listeners. and also you have to pick the main idea. Example, if you are writing about social media, you have to explain that. The introduction should be the description of what social media is. Do not start writing what are the uses, what are the ill effects, or what are the benefits. You cannot start writing in that way. What you have to know is you have to give a brief description of what social media is, okay? You can say it is a networking site that connects people. Those are the things that you need to write in the introduction. Remember, your introduction has to be very attractive because from the introduction, people will get to know the main idea of what you are going to speak, or of what you are going to write, okay? The main idea has to be collected. Even if you want to speak on social media, you cannot just go and touch every point here and there. Of course, it is important, but you have to focus on one main idea which gives more interest and which gives more meaning to what you are writing and to what you are speaking. Okay, that is one very important reason that we should keep in mind. Sometimes, even if you have a good writing skills, or even if you have a good command over language, what we miss out here is we tend to touch all the points which may not prove very effective, and that makes our speech messy, which will not be very effective to the listeners. So that is what we have to keep in mind every time. And then remember, you are writing a speech and not an essay. Writing a speech and writing an essay is different. It may appear a little similar, but you are going to express your views, okay? You are going to express your opinions there. And in an essay, you have to present the facts. I do not deny the fact that we also have to present facts in our speech. But imagine that you are not putting it into writing, but put yourself on the stage, okay? Even if you are there writing down, you have to know that you have to imagine that you are speaking to a group of people that will make your language more acceptable in a speech writing, okay? That is one thing that you have to keep in your mind. And also use of concrete words and examples. Sometimes we use words and examples which may not be very related to us. When you are speaking, when you are giving a speech, what we have to keep in mind is we have to bring some examples if we want, examples which are attached to our daily lives, which you will always experience. Those are called concrete, which we feel and see every day. If you bring examples of what we do not experience, that will be a little away from the topic, and it may not appeal to your listeners as you want them to, okay? That is one thing we have to keep in mind again. And then you also have, I've told you on social media, right? If you are speaking on social media, it is also important to touch on, example, the modern technologies, the mobile phones and the computers. But remember, your main idea is not, your main focus should not be on the gadgets. Of course, through these gadgets, only we get to know so to get in contact with the social media. But we also have to keep in mind that social media and computers and mobile phones are of different elements, okay? They are of different entities, and you can bring a little bit of that, because I know to talk about social media, we cannot do away with those things. But remember, your main point is on social media and not on the modern technologies like the developments that we get. Of course, they are the source through which we get in contact with people through the social media, but our main point should always stay, and we should be clear of what we are speaking about. Sometimes I have seen people that they start a speech with a topic and then later on they come back to another topic. Like I said, they start with social media and they end up with mobile phones or computers, with modern technology. They are all interrelated. We know that, everybody knows that. But you have to know that you are speaking on the social media and not on this modern technology. Modern technology is not your topic. You have to keep in your mind on those, okay? One thing I want you to remember in page number 54 is you have to get your facts together, okay? You cannot just bring of course I said you have to express your opinions and ideas, but you have to gather your facts. You cannot just present anything that you feel without knowing the actual truth. If you are speaking on a topic and then you are bringing the wrong information to your listeners, that will be a big turn off to your listeners, because by doing so, from that moment onwards, your listeners may not want to listen to you anymore. And so, one thing that you have to know is you have to gather your facts together. Everything should be put together before you put it into writing or before you start speaking out. You might have experienced a person speaking on the stage and then they lost track of what they are speaking. You get to know it just by sitting down there and listening to what the other person is speaking on. And you will also get to know that he got swayed from the main topic that he started. And that is what we don't like to listen, isn't it? So we have to keep in mind that even our speech has to be accurate. We have to gather the information together and also present it. And please do not say if you do not know, okay? Because if you just bring some half-cooked information, that would be a thing to spoil on your speech. Even if you have prepared so well, maybe the little mistakes here and there might be a turn off to the ones who are reading or to the ones who are listening to what you speak. And then one more thing is to keep it simple. Use of polite language is very important. You know what is polite language, right? You have to make sure that your speech has to be written in a formal and polite language, but make it simple. There are people who likes to bring high vocabularies which the listeners or the audience might not understand. What is the point if your listeners do not understand what you speak? If you are the only person who understands what you speak, that is going to be of no use to your listeners as well as to your readers. So it's exactly the same like speaking on the stage. The only difference is during the exam you are going to write down your speech. That is one thing that you have to keep in your mind. And after writing a speech, you also have to give your name, okay? You have to give your name, and that is we should know where to put, and then we should also know the correct usage of this format, okay? I repeat once again, for the speech writing, the first thing that we have to know is we have to be focused on the main idea, okay? Stay focused on the main idea, and you also have to know that if you get swayed away from your topic, that is going to turn off your listeners or to turn off your readers. And remember, you are not writing an essay, you are writing a speech. And write as if you are talking to someone right now. You might want to write something, and so in that case, you have to make sure that you imagine, you put yourself there as if you are talking to the people, okay? If you are asked to write a speech, what we usually get in our question is, write a speech, for example, on the farewell function of your teacher who is retiring after serving in your school for 20 years. Even if you are writing at home, you have to imagine that you are going to speak in front of the whole school for your teacher who is retiring after serving for 20 years. So in that case, you get the idea of what are the things that you should be writing, isn't it? So put yourself in the school if you are writing for a teacher who is retiring after serving for 20 years. So this is what I'm talking about. You have to think that you are talking and not writing. And then you have to get your facts together, okay? Getting your facts together is a very important thing. Keeping your language simple and polite is also a very important thing. I said, if you use vocabularies with your listeners, I am saying that you have to bring the vocabularies. If you are asked to write a speech for the school, imagine the knowledge that the school children will be having, and that based on that you have to speak, okay? If you are going to be speaking in front of some adults, or you can imagine of some officers, your language usage should be a little different, because the understanding capacity is a little different from the school children. So this is what I'm talking about when I said you have to keep your listeners or to keep your readers in your mind, okay? This is all about a speech writing. and we are coming down to article. Okay, first I forgot to mention in that speech, you have to write your topic. Okay, I say topic, but do not write topic again. There are some students whom I have come across the papers. Okay, they write topic in capital letter without writing the main topic. If I ask you to write a speech on the farewell function of your teacher, you have to write your topic based on that. You cannot just write topic and then go on. Okay, so your topic has to be farewell speech for our teacher, and then you can mention the name of the teacher. Writing your topic will score you a good mark. Okay, just because you presented the title of your speech is going to help you score mark. And even if you are not giving an exam, remember, speech writing is going to be important wherever we go, because I'm sure you have big dreams, you have big hopes, right? One day you will become a great man, and in that case you have to be speaking in front of thousands of people, and there might be a situation where you have to print out your speech. If you are just going to speak and leave, people may not remember every detail of what you spoke. They will just remember the main points. But if you are in a position, because we know when we have the chief guest in any function, they will print out their speeches and send to the whole audience. If that is the case, if there is anything wrong, or if your speech is not really well written, it is not going to be very presentable, and your image might even go down. There are very high chances for that, right? So you have to make sure that not only for the exams, but you are learning this as a lesson for your life, which is going to be applicable to you for your whole life. Okay, the next topic is going to be article writing. I'm sure you have come across articles in newspapers, articles in magazines and journals, right? So here, even in article, it's almost the same thing. You have to present your topic, okay? Make sure you write your topic every time on top of the page. For you, you are in class 10. So what we normally do is write an article on the ill effects of tobacco. Maybe if you get that, you have to write ill effects of tobacco. That is the heading, right? That is the topic. Writing that topic alone can score you 1 mark. Do you know that? So you have that, and then the next thing that you have to know is if you get a topic on cleanliness and its benefits. So that itself, from the question itself, you are getting either half mark or 1 mark. So this is why writing the topic is very important. Okay, not only for the examination, but also in any areas of life, you will be asked to write an article. Sometimes people may come and interview you, and when they see that you have a good idea about a particular topic, they might ask you for an article to be published in the newspapers, maybe the school magazine or the journals, right? Journals may be in yearly, quarterly. Even your school might be having some journals, right? If it is quarterly, you get 4 journals, or you get, sometimes there are even 2 journals for a year in some schools. And so in this kind of things, you have to make sure that the first paragraph, that is the introduction, should be the main idea of what you are going to write about. Okay, if you are going to write an article on the ill effects of tobacco, what you have to write is, the first point would be a little bit on what you are present in your whole article. That is what you have to write, and then you have to gather the facts like you write a speech. Okay, you have to gather the facts. If you want to have a look at that, you can look at that in page number 54. You can even look down now and see what is written there. The first thing is the heading. It should be very attractive and catchy, because only when you give a catchy and attractive heading, people will go and look. In this fast changing world, we have so many options around us, and nobody wants to be focused on a thing that is not really interesting. So you have to keep that in your mind, and then the next will come the byline. Okay, byline means the name of the writer. If you are writing for your school magazine, if you are asked to write for your school magazine, that means you have to write your name, class and roll number also. As a student, you have to write that, okay? And the next thing will be the introduction, which will bear all the points, which will throw the light on what you are going to write about in the following paragraphs. That is the introduction, and the next point that you will see will be the details with analysis. You cannot just write random points as you want. You have to make some analysis. That means you have to do some study and then you have to put it into writing, okay? An article would be a little refined one as compared to a speech. In a speech, you will even give your ideas and opinions, right? But in an article, you have to make an analysis and then you have to present those things. And then if there is any suggestions that you want to give, okay? If you are writing for your school magazine or for your school journal, if you think that you can give any suggestions or advice to the school or to your fellow students, you can put it there. And the conclusion would be a quick sum up. You know how to write a summary, right? You don't have to write everything again. Your conclusion can be just 3-4 sentences, but you have to sum up the main points once again to remind your readers, okay? To remind your readers of what you have already written. So this is how you should go about in an article writing. Sometimes the place of writing the name may differ, okay? In magazines and journals, it may be written at the end of the article, okay? It might be written at the end, but in a newspaper, okay, I think I'm not making myself clear here. In school magazines and journals, you can write your name at the end. In a newspaper, you will see that the byline is written right below the topic, okay? I made a little bit of confusion there, so I'm clearing it up again. In the newspapers, you will find the names, that is the byline, okay? The names just below the topic. In the magazines and journals, you can write it at the end of your article after you give the conclusion. So this is about speech and article. We always get 2 questions for this writing, which carries 7 marks. Out of these 4, we do not know which topic will come, so we have to make sure that we are thorough with all this. In our next class, I will also touch a little bit on letter and report. Letter, we have already done it detailedly, so I will not focus on that much, but on the report, we will touch a little bit again. And with this, we are going to end our class for today. Thank you.